Hello and welcome to another Brendan Goes Outside video. All day today I've been driving up and down the Great Eastern Highway filming content for an upcoming Brendan's Odyssey video. Those astute among you can probably guess what that is. What runs up and down the Great Eastern Highway? And what video subject that runs up and down the Great Eastern Highway has been highly requested? And what runs up and down the Great Eastern Highway that I started filming 2 years ago? So today's the day. Anyway, I have decided to camp to sort of split the journey up a little bit because I'm doing probably at least over 600 Ks of driving today. There's quite a few campsites up and down the highway, and I've chosen one that's at an old railway reservoir. And there are a few railway reservoirs up and down the highway as well, but today we're going to Karalee Rocks. The reason we're going there is for a couple of reasons. A, I think it's probably the most interesting. It's the most well looked after. It's in pretty good condition, and it has a big aqueduct. So just to give, obviously I'll go deeper into the story later on, but there's big, massive granite outcrops there. And what they did is they built a bunch of like retaining walls. Well, not retaining walls, just sort of like half a meter to meter high walls around the perimeter and up and down the rock. So when it rains, especially during heavy downpours, all the water gets collected and channeled, and it eventually goes to this aqueduct, which then flows into a reservoir. A reservoir that can hold like 48 million litres of water. It's pretty nuts engineering for the late 1800s. And yeah, it was for the original Eastern Goldfields railway because the old steam locomotives, they needed a lot of water. The other reason I've chosen to camp here as well is because it's quite large. Some of the reviews I've read say that like 20 or 30 caravans could fit there. So it is Saturday nights, but it's not like a public holiday, but the weather is absolutely mint. I'm gonna rock up there about 4 o'clock, so fingers crossed I find a pretty decent campsite, the sort of place where I can just squirrel myself away as I like it. But yeah, we're about 20 minutes out, and I'll catch ya when I arrive. Keep in mind the track in is a little bit sandy. Okay today, but might be a little bit problematic if it's wet, although it's not deep sand. And also Google Maps wants me to keep driving that way for another 2 kilometers, but the sign is pointing this way, so that's the way we're gonna go. It's a bit arduous. We've got big puddles in the middle of the road, trees that have fallen across it. Hopefully no trees fall on me. Touch wood. Oh, big rut, big rut. Yeah. If you're driving in a big rig, do so with caution, but I don't think it's impossible. Okay, so I'm not the only one here. I can see 1, 2, 3 other people set up, including a big group. Let's stay clear of them. There's a pretty cozy spot here right near the dam. Although I bet you'll have all sorts of people like walking past. But protected from the weather though. Maybe further over here where I came in. Careful now. Okay, I've been driving around for ages. I've decided to gamble and take the one near the dam, because there's a bench and everything there. And hopefully, it'll be nice and quiet. Hopefully there won't be too many more other people sort of rocking up. Okay, this is what I've landed on. The bench is over here, but it's nice and flat there, hopefully protected. That should be all right. Then we have this huge sort of flat area here. Now that I've seen that, I'm sort of thinking maybe I should move it over a bit. I mean, that branch is really more the problem. Okay, I flipped the script a bit. By script, I mean car. So we're now facing the other way. The awning will be coming out this way. We're clear of the tree, and now the awning faces the table, which makes more sense anyway. I'll be a little bit more exposed, but there's not really anyone here. There is a caravan, but they're facing the other way, so I think it should be okay. Okay, enough dilly-dallying. I think we've got about an hour until the sun sets, so I'll save setting up the camp for then. First off, let's check out this reservoir. Ooh, it's actually quite full. I wasn't expecting it to be so full of water. And then over here we have the aqueduct. Wow, look at that. I knew it was quite large, but didn't expect it to be so, well, large. Wow, check that out. That's awesome. I wonder if this is just for support or if it was covered at some point. Yeah, here's the water. People do swim in this. It's about, ooh, I don't know, 18 degrees as I film this. So I probably wouldn't be going for a swim right now. Yeah, this thing is quite jarring all the way out here. So like I said, that dam back there holds 48 million litres of water, but the region only receives 260 mil of rain every single year. It's designed to particularly take advantage of the heavy downpours. So here we have some sluice gates, and the sun is in the perfect spot, as per usual. We're also at the end of the aqueduct, so as you can see, it runs for, I'll probably have to measure it on Google Maps, but well over 100 meters. Anyway, so believe it or not, that dam is capable of overflowing, which actually isn't too surprising considering how full it is now, and we're just sort of in the, the first month of autumn at the moment. But if there is too much water in the reservoir, this sluice gate can come down, that one can open up, and the water can just be pushed off into the bush for the emus. But yeah, what a marvellous piece of bush engineering. And all these walls, we'll see a lot more of them as we head onto the rock. It's, well, it comes from the rock. The rock provides. Supposedly there was quarrying on the top of the rock, so once I get up there, I'll just have a bit of a look around for signs of that. Ooh, yeah, blinded by the light. You can probably see better than I can. So as we can see here, some channels running off down the side of the rock. Ooh. These are in really great condition. I believe they have been restored somewhat. So before the railway, the trip took 4.5 days on horseback from Southern Cross to Coolgardie. So thousands of horses and hundreds of people would make this trip each year. And this became a regular stopping point during the gold rush of the 1890s. So railway construction also required lots of water when they finally did build it through. And so did the steam engines themselves once they began to run. So this would lead to the creation of this project in 1887. Because there's not much natural water out here. There doesn't appear to be any, I really can't see where I'm going. There doesn't appear to be any sort of underground water, at least that's usable. There's no rivers. There's no lakes that aren't full of salt. So the engineers of the time, the planners of the time, had to come up with solutions like this. So there's all sorts of water holes here already. I'm surprised. It has been raining this week in Perth. So I guess it's been raining down here as well. I didn't actually think to check. But some tracks I've been driving on today did seem awfully muddy, or that they had been muddy. You can see that they had big tyre ruts, but the tyre ruts had dried out. If you get the image I'm trying to explain. Yeah, so you can see that wall running all the way around there. Everything is designed so when the water falls down the rock, it all gets pushed into these channels. There's actually 2 rocks. This is called rock number 1, and rock number 2 is over there somewhere. We'll go there next. But all of it eventually goes over there to the aqueduct, or the flume, if you want to call it that. And this is a massive rock, like as far as the eye can see at the moment, though I can't see that far because of the setting sun. See, look how long my shadow is. So I wonder if that's a section over there where the rock was quarried. There's a few telltale signs if I don't trip over and fall on my face before I get there. But supposedly there's over 6 kilometers of this wall surrounding the rocks. And some of them are up to 1 meter tall. So quite a lot of effort was put into building these walls. Quite a lot of quarrying. I don't know much about geology, but you know, granite's still a rock. Can't imagine it's more easier or harder to quarry than other rocks, but maybe it is. I don't know. So yeah, this definitely could be a place where they quarried stone. You can usually tell by drill holes. So they'll drill these holes, and then they would bang like a wooden peg into the hole, and you know, fill it full of water. This is also like a snake hideout for sure. And the wood would expand once it absorbed the water and help break open the rock. Yeah. Let's leave the possible snake den. Let's have a look up there where the trees are. So this definitely looks like more of a quarrying spot. Yeah, absolutely. I can see the drill holes. Just a bit of a snake check. Looks like we're clear. Yeah, see these? So you bang the peg into that. The peg would absorb water and kablamo! We have some stones to build 6 kilometers of wall. So there is a track here you can follow. Short way, long way. Obviously we're going to go the long way. Come on, up this way to rock number 2. They're very creative with their naming schemes. Functional, I guess. So when the railway was eventually built, it didn't quite follow the original track that people had been following for, probably a couple of decades by that point, maybe 1 decade. It was actually 3.5 kilometers to the south, that way, close to where the Golden Pipeline is now. Hint, hint, wink, wink. So, to get to the water to the train line where it was needed, there was a 90mm diameter pipe that ran to an overhead tank down near the train station, and that tank could hold over 113,000 litres. I've just popped myself below the summit of the rock just to save me from being blinded by the sun. It provides, but also takes away, almighty sun. And yeah, the wall's looking a little bit more shabby over here. Obviously looks like they've repointed it down where the aqueduct is. And I would assume that the aqueduct has been repaired at some point as well, because when I read the Heritage Council listing for this place, that was from some time ago. I can't remember which year off the top of my head, but that mentioned the aqueduct being in pretty bad condition and in need of repair. Looks pretty good today, so I assume they have fixed it. As you can see, it still works. That dam is absolutely full of water. Not sure if it has 48,000 litres worth, but it's definitely quite full. So yeah, like I said in the car, I've had a pretty big day. I left home at sort of before 5:30 this morning. And I said 500 or 600 k's of driving, but I worked out I've driven the equivalent of a full tank of petrol. Luckily I filled up when I went past Southern Cross, because we're in a bit of a dead spot here for petrol stations in between Southern Cross and Coolgardie. So I have half a tank to basically get me back towards Southern Cross tomorrow and fill up for the rest of the day, but half a tank will be more than enough. Southern Cross is about 60k from here. But anyway, the capacity of my tank in the car is about 700k, so yeah, from that you can presume that I've driven about 700k today. It's quite a lot for a single day. I was hoping to explore more of the rock today, but it's just, I'm running out of time. I still got to finish this loop and show you some other cool stuff. And yeah, I just got there and I'm just blinded. I can't see anything. So maybe we'll come up here tomorrow morning. No promises. The big reason I wanted to go to the top was to see evidence of quarrying, which I found, so I'm happy with that. There is an All Trails trail you can follow as well, an All Trails truck. If you like, I'll put that in the description. It's very short, under 2 kilometers, I think. Anyway, quite interesting. Get to look at some old engineering and a big rock, and then some old engineering on a big rock. What more is there to hate? To love? To hate? No, to love. To love. As you can see, I'm definitely in the more cuckoo part of I can't even say that bit right. As you can see, I've gone a bit mad. It's been a long day and I still have to set up camp, but that's okay, because look at this. What's this, lichen? Oh, it's really cool. Nice. My gosh, am I looking forward to a beer. But no beer until shelter has been arranged. And for the record, if you keep going south of the site, there's heaps of space, but it's pretty open, it's pretty exposed. So I ultimately chose my little nook near the dam, but it's late in the day. A couple of people have already walked past, but I doubt there'll be anyone else once the sun sets. There hasn't been a lick of wind yet, but I just remember the camp I did recently at Gordon Hall. Check out that video if you want to see that. That's a cool day. It was a big day of me driving around the Great Southern region, but the weather was perfect like this when I arrived, and then it got really windy at night, so much so that I had to like hide in the forester like pretty early on. And that was before I brought down the platform. It was kind of the catalyst for me bringing down the platform, to be honest, because yeah, it wasn't very comfortable. So if I'm ever in that situation again, it should be a bit more relaxing. But I've literally got a big dam wall as cover, so Should be okay. Assuming the levee doesn't break. Hopefully not. It's been up this long. And there's people camped behind me in a bit of a gully anyway, so I won't be the only one to die. I'll probably just be the first person to die by like a second or half a second. We've got views, boss. What a wonderful sunset. Look at these colours. I just love this time of day in the bush with the light just sort of shears across the trees like that, like in a straight line as it goes behind the hills, or in this case, a ginormous rock. Yeah, I'm sure the DJI isn't doing it much justice. I'll get a shot with my iPhone. Yeah, I do feel fortunate to come here after rain, but not during rain, although it would be great to see that aqueduct in action. There's one photo online on the Google Maps listing. I'll see if I can find it and post it on screen now. Looks like we almost have a natural channel there. Yep, you can see they've taken advantage of it, of the little partition of wall there. Yeah, this is a great walk. There are some things you should know about this campsite, however. There are toilets here, but they're shut. And from what I can tell, they've been shut for a very long time. So no loo, keep that in mind. Also, there is a dump point for you RVers and caravan dwellers out there, but that is also shut. It's closed. So this campsite's actually run by the National Trust. And I believe this is the first campsite I've ever been to run by them. I don't think I've been to any others. I'm sure I would have noticed if I had. Anyway, I can't remember where I read it. A comment somewhere in a YouTube comment section or maybe on Google Maps, but someone did reach out and sort of ask about the toilets, and predictably, the reason they've been shut is because of funding. There's just not enough money. Okay, we have been walking on rock number 2, by the way. I'm unsure if I said that. The track leads us this way through a channel. Do I take the steps or do I walk through the channel? I think I'll walk through the channel. Why not? It's quite nice this time of day. Ah, of course, the sign's up there. So interestingly, the stone cut portion of the channel ends here and it turns into dirt. I guess the ground here is hard enough that the water doesn't absorb into the ground as easily. How very interesting. Yeah, so the walk track is nice and clear. It's no issue to know which way to walk. And look, oh, there's another aqueduct. I didn't realize there were 2. Oh, cool. This one's due to be cleared out. Not as long as the other one. Actually, this might have collapsed. Oh, I don't know, maybe not. There's concrete. Oh, that's just a bit of wood that would have gone over the top. Glad that's up there. Ooh, it's the last thing I want. The last activity of the day, walk through a ginormous spider web. And now we're back to the dirt channel. Looks like we did sort of walk through a bit of a dry creek system there, so that's probably why they built another metal aqueduct. So, as best I can tell, through here we should have some other stuff to look at. We've actually got a pipe. It's interesting they didn't just use one big pipe. So give that a pause and give it a read if you wish. I was talking about the original road that ran from Southern Cross to Coolgardie. And I do wonder if this is it. I'll have to mark this spot on Google Maps and see where it goes. Well, well, well. So there's a few wells around here. Damn, that's quite deep. Looks like it's dry at the moment. There is believed to be 2 wells around here, which they think was constructed by Charles Hunt. And he also created his own dam as well. This was back in the 1860s. So he originally created a route through here from York to Lake Lefroy, my apologies. And that's south of Kalgoorlie. A lot of his wells still exist along the track. So a future plan for a Brennan's Odyssey video is to follow these wells in his expedition and the creation of the track with permanent water sources along the way. They'd open up the entire region to exploration, although I don't think he was really sort of celebrated for such a feat back in the day. Okay, I am so losing light. If I can't find these other wells, maybe that's his little dam there, I'll come back here tomorrow morning because I'm not too far away from where I'm parked. But yeah, just think, 100 and something years ago, 100 and something brain doesn't work years ago, because I've had a long day, this was potentially the major route through the region. The well being there certainly, you know, backs that up. Yeah, so I do wonder if this is the dam. I'd imagine that sign would probably say. Certainly looks like one, doesn't it? Yeah. So if I'm right, this is a dam from the 1860s. So apparently the information on this sign is correct, but it was put in the wrong place. And here's the sign making the correction. And these signs are a little bit easier to read. And it does confirm that the well up there is from the 1890s. That was a government well, not one of Hunt's wells, which I'm still yet to locate, but they must be around here somewhere because it confirms that that was his dam, although they say the government did later enlarge it. So not a well, but a clay excavation. And you're going to see that better than me. Doesn't smell, at least. Okay, with this last glimmer of twilight we have, I'm just going to make my way over here and check out something I spotted on aerial photography. Yeah, so I did have a bit of a drive around here before. Like I said, it's pretty open. I also drove over there. It's a little bit more sheltered, but it looked like there was a dry creek there, but with reeds. I thought, oh, that place is going to be so noisy at night with all the bugs. So yeah, another reason why I've ended up where I have. So I mentioned that pipe before that ran through the bush towards the train station. You can see a very distinct line through the bush. So I'm guessing that's probably where the pipe was. That's probably why it's so distinctive here, is because they've built up a bit of a bank to run the pipe across. Obviously the pipe itself is long gone. All right, there's a spillway behind the dam. Let's check that out before we get lost in the dark. Just inadvertently ran into an old junk pile. Litter is litter, you know how I feel about that, but this is historic litter, which I guess doesn't make it worse. Certainly doesn't make it better. Oh, so there actually is water in here. Stagnant water, but water nonetheless. Yeah, and this is this other location I was talking about for camping. Nice and isolated, but you can already hear the bugs kicking off. I'm on the wrong side of this, I need to be over there. Bloody hell. Okay, I can't figure out how to get to the spillway. I did get it on the drone, so whatever. I need to get camp set up. Okay, home sweet home, which I'm yet to set up. Does that look level to you? Looks a little bit off. I'm considering getting the Mack trucks out and driving onto them to bring it up a little bit, but it's ever so slight. I don't think it's worth it. Usually my head sleeps on this side, feet that side, but for no particular reason, just because it's easier to get in and out of the door. So if it's a real problem, I'll just put my head on that side. Okay, I am absolutely starving. It's just after 6 o'clock and it's already just completely dark out here. It's great, nice and quiet. So no new gear to show. The only difference today is that I'm using my new Cedar Summit mattress as opposed to the double car camping mattress. I feel like that's just a bit unnecessary and it's just extra work in the morning. This takes all of 30 seconds to deflate and pack up. Time for a beer. What a day. It's been a good day, but it's been a damn busy day. Lots of driving. I'm absolutely starving. A big thing that got me through today was knowing there's a big, juicy steak in my esky. That may seem like a bit too much oil, but I was just finishing off the bottle. I bought this bottle when I started car camping at Pumphrey's Bridge. This was the original bottle from the kit. And to replace it, I have inferior Coles Classic, because it was the only one that was affordable. And I thought I was paying a lot for olive oil a year ago. Oh, so I know, oh, that's really bright, I can't see a thing. So I know a oily steak isn't the most healthiest dinner. It's okay, I've got salad. Don't worry about it. Whew. So all this excitement about the imminent darkness and getting camp set up, I forgot about the story I was telling about Karalee Rocks. So, like I said, it was a pretty major stop on the coach road. There's probably people on horses and camels as well. And speaking of the water tank, all the way down, down yonder, down where the train line was, that pipe, which I pointed out the probable remains of earlier on, there was a steam pump for that pipe. So a caretaker actually lived on site to maintain that and, you know, make sure it was working so the trains would get all their water. And eventually a larger settlement did spring up around here. Apparently there was several hotels, a store and a bakery. Now I haven't seen any indication of any buildings, only that big, you know, rubbish pile on the other side of the dam. It's an indication that people did, you know, at least used to stay here as they were traveling. Wasn't really able to find much information on that, but it is from the Heritage Council, so I believe it. Anyway, this settlement would eventually move to be down near the train station. And that settlement stuck around for a pretty long time. the last remnants of it in the 1970s. So on the way out tomorrow morning, we'll swing by that location and see what we can find. Okay, now for a fun night of backing up files and editing. This guy knows how to party.
Does this guy know how to party or what? Huh? Huh? Huh.
I did bring breakfast supplies. I got sausages and eggs. But to be honest, I just can't really be bothered. I'm not that hungry. So I might just rely on my single muesli bar until I hit some sort of civilization that can sell me something to eat. I might just ship up and ship off because I've got a lot to do today. I've got about half an hour until the sun rises, so yeah, I might just get the car packed up and hopefully it works out and I can just sort of maximize the amount of daylight hours I have. Because I'm pretty keen just to get on the road. I've got a lot of stops to do today. Good morning from Yellowdine though. What a lovely place out on the Eastern Goldfields. Slept pretty well too, I feel well rested. Second night sleeping on the Cedar Summit mat. It's pretty comfortable. It's just a bit strange, it's just a bit unusual. So I'm still, I don't even know really how to put it into words, but yeah, I slept fine. Like I'm not sore or anything like that. It's just sort of, like I said, I don't know sort of how to explain it, but you know, what does the watch say? Does it say how much sleep I've had? I got a sleep score of 92 for a total of 7 hours and 8 minutes. And for once, the watch is showing pretty correct data. Woke up about, yeah, very briefly about 12:30, but then between 3 and 3:30 I was awake. I guess it just feels weird sleeping on the mat, like I said, so I sort of wake up and I'm like, oh, what's going on? And sort of, I don't know, the oddness of it keeps me awake, but I fell asleep again after that and slept right until my alarm, which was at 6 o'clock, so. Big day ahead. Wow, 17 seconds. It's got to be a record for backup time. Now, before I leave, we're doing pretty okay for time. It's just 20 to 8. I'm going to see if I can find this other well. Although I have a suspicion that that government well may have been Hunt's well and they've just enlarged it. But we'll go have another look, see what we can find. Okay, so I was just rereading that plaque and it specifically says that that well over there is not a Hunt well. So I can't remember if I saw any photos of a different well online. I was under the impression there were 3 different wells. I guess I should just keep an eye out for signs like this. But here's the government well again, this time in the morning light, not the evening light. Maybe you can see in there a little bit better, but basically where that rock lining ends, There's about another ½ meter of, you know, dirt wall, and then it drops like probably another, oh, I don't know, probably 3 meters. It's really deep. So there's the well there. I haven't really explored down this way more, so let's do that right now, but I can't really dilly-dally around for too long. I've got a lot of different filming to do today. Maybe I'm due for another coffee. It's like the body's woken up, but the brain hasn't yet. Anyway, this is a nice formed path, so hopefully it leads somewhere. This must have been the short walk. So we can see we have another dirt channel here and a little bridge. We have a creek system running through there into the channel. Actually, it doesn't even go into the channel. It's like cut off by the channel. Okay, I got mildly excited because I saw that, but yeah, this just takes us back to the rock. Well, I'll swing around the other side, but I'm at a bit of a loss here. So I just found this map. It says government well, and it says Hunt's (dam), Hunt's (well). Walked down there and I didn't really see anything. And I thought this was flipped. I thought the government well was sort of down here and the dam was up here. I don't know, this is confusing. I don't like to feel defeated like this, but I think I might let this rest for now. I did a quick Google search of Hunt's Well, Karalee Rocks, and all I saw were photos of the government well. So this will require more research, but like I said, I do plan on doing a full Brennan's Odyssey video on Hunt's Wells. So if I find that there is a different well, I'll come back for that video. Anyway, let's go see what happened to the settlement at Karalee Rocks down by the train station. So this is the second settlement, or what remains of the second settlement of Karalee Rocks. There was a train station, houses, railway barracks, and of course, a hotel. As we can see, there are more substantial remains here, settlement-wise, than down at the dam. As you can see, there's the pipeline. Great Eastern Highway is just behind that. No doubt we'll see traffic soon. It's an interesting pole. I do wonder if this is the remains of a tank. The tank I was talking about. Obviously these trees stick out a little bit. These aren't native, they've been planted. So diesel locomotives came into action in the early 1950s, 1953, I think. And as you can imagine, it made this settlement a little bit redundant because there was no longer a need for water to power the mighty steam locomotives. But the water from the dam was used as a supplementary source for the pipeline in the 1960s. Wonder what this is. Surely they aren't trestles for the railway, they're way too small. Kind of looks like the remains of a bench. Anyway, the final resident who lived here died in 1973, and he was living in the station master's house, wherever that was. That was demolished after his death. The hotel, however, still remained. And even though that had been closed since at least 1971, maybe a little bit later. That burnt down at the hand of vandals in 1975. So those ruins we're just looking at over there, I'm unsure if that was either the train station or the hotel. But there's a fantastic video through the ABC Goldfields Esperant Facebook page, and it details the decline of the pub and shows this whole area in the 1970s.
For 74 years the trains pulled up here, sometimes 5 or 6 times a day, and every time they did so the Karalee pub saw a minor stampede. There's not another pub for nearly 40 miles, and in the days of steam that was the best part of an hour's haul across some very thirsty country. But the trains don't stop here anymore. The itinerant workers have passed on. The motor traffic goes past on the nearby highway even faster, and the bar has atmosphere, and that's about all. Soon the Karalee pub's licence will go with the trains and the workers, and so too will publican Alex Colombo.
When it was first placed here, they had a lot of people working in the cutting wood for the pumping station.
They mentioned the licence was about to be transferred elsewhere for the hotel. And I saw just south of Perth, pretty ambiguous, but there is the Karalee Tavern in Como, so you have to wonder if that's where the licence ended up and they just kept the same name.
And this looks like it might be the end of the pub anyway.
Yes, yes.
This whole area is littered with little campsites. I'm not sure why you'd want to camp here next to the highway when we have a nice, pretty decent free campground just down the road. Anyway, pretty difficult to see, but we're now standing on the original alignment of the Eastern Goldfields Railway, which sort of just disappears into the bushes over here, but does continue on in each direction all the way to Kalgoorlie. So the alignments were running along here. The station must have been somewhere else. What I was looking at over there, that must have been the remains of the tavern. Yeah, it looks like we've got some ballast here. Yeah. Yeah, I can see the railway alignment there as it pops out on the other side. So obviously it didn't go through that crevice. It actually just went around it. It's kind of difficult to see. Looks like we've got some concrete over there. Maybe that was the train station, the platform. Yeah, look at all this ballast. Ballast City. So choo-choo, we are on the original train line. What's this over here? Yeah, there's all sorts of earthworks around here. For what purpose? I'm unsure. Oh, this would have been a bridge. Okay, so obviously right now we're on the railway alignment. There we go, there's another footing of the bridge. Not sure if you can see that. As per usual, the sun is always in the perfect spot. Yeah, so I could plop around here for hours, but I really do need to be going. I did see a big metal hunkin' something or other in the bushes over there, so we'll go check that out and then we'll wrap this up. Poor but proud. If you say so, I'm pretty poor. Not sure if I'm that proud though. I've got an old tinny here. This had to be the tavern. What does that say? Please don't, there's ants on it. It said, please don't litter. And then dispose of properly, which evidently someone has not followed the instructions. It's just a tank. Nothing too interesting. Like I said, I could walk around here for hours because this was settled somewhat recently. Like I said, the last residents left in the 1970s. 100% check out that video in the description. It's a really cool watch. It only goes for a couple of minutes. Anyway, I'm gonna wrap it up there. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for liking. Thank you for hyping. All that stuff. I really do appreciate it. And I'll see you in the next video.